Thank you very much for that opening as well. We're going to jump into the 8-minute rebuttals. A couple of quick housekeeping things. First, folks, in the live chat right now on YouTube at Modern Day Debate, we have a poll. So far, over 1,000 people have voted on this poll on what you think regarding whether or not Islam affirms the Bible. That's live right now. And we're going to kick it into 8-minute rebuttals. With that, Avery, thanks for being with us. The floor is all yours for 8 minutes. Oh, we can't hear you. Let me just check if you're on mute.
There we go. There we go. We all good?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for quoting Said Bukhari. Now he says, prove that that there was a gospel there in Medina and Mecca, like prove that there was a gospel during that in that area. Huh? Okay. Well, here's Said Bukhari, number 3. You know the story of Muhammad in the cave where he had that little struggle with whatever spirit that was. This is what it says here. It says Waraka, who was Muhammad's mentor. It says Waraka used to write the gospel in Arabic. Whoa. He used to write the gospel in Arabic as much as Allah would allow him to write. Tough. So it looks like a manuscript of the Arabic gospel did exist in connection with Muhammad that John, I guess, doesn't have a manuscript of. I can't wait to get to the cross-examination on that. He said, now, the Torah, the Injil is something that's given directly to Jesus from God. It's not authored by the followers of Jesus. Okay, well, that's fine. I mean, you would have to explain to me then who wrote the Injil, because the Quran says that the Injil was written down. Now, I mean, you seem to be different than all the Muslims we ever talk to. Like you keep saying how your view is different than every Muslim that we talk to. So, John, I guess I'm dealing with a different type of Islam today. So, please, John, are you telling me that Jesus wrote the Injil himself and was walking around with a physical book, or tell me who was it that wrote this Injil? Because it's this Injil that was there in the 7th century, in the hands of the Jews and the Christians, was a written text according to what the Quran says. So you'll have to deal with that. He said that the Christians don't even agree on what the Old Testament is. Now, I want everybody that's listening, and now I know this will appeal to the audience. We got to play the crowd a little bit. We can have some fun here. But I want every Christian in the audience, Catholic, Orthodox, you name it, tell me if you guys disagree. Put a 1 if you agree, 2 if you disagree on whether or not if the Torah is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Put a 1 if you agree that those 5 books are the Torah, have always been. Put a 2 if, you have a different idea of what the Torah is other than those 5 books, okay? So put a 1 if you agree, 2 if you disagree. Now, let me just appeal to my opponent here. There's not a single one of us that disagrees on what the Torah is. You will have to actually bring me something on any Christian, any church father, any Christian that disagrees that the Torah is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, any of those 5 books. Show me one church father that disagrees with that. Show me one Jew that disagrees with that that's what the Torah is, that the Torah includes those books, or that has any part to do with those 5 books. That's what I want to see. A bunch of ones here, man. That's crazy. He says Avery's understanding of the gospel, that I'm going with what I believe the gospel to be. Guys, did I put my own interpretation in it? Did I tell you guys what I thought, or did I just read? Did I tell you guys what Avery thinks, what Avery interprets, or did I just read, ladies and gentlemen? Because we're just going to read, man. All we're going to do is read. Now, again, I quoted Sahih Bukhari. Now, I'm not affirming that this is historically reliable. This is your history. You have to, this is authoritative on you. So I'm showing you by your own sources, historically, by your own historians, it says that we had the Torah, that my gospel is good. Matter of fact, the New Testament, I literally quoted you, Sahih Bukhari, 1341, Sahih Bukhari, what was it? 427, where the wives of Muhammad, Sahih Bukhari, 2297, where Abu Bakr, they all went to Ethiopia. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Abu Bakr visited Ethiopia and stayed there for a time. And this was before the Hijrah. This was before the Hijrah. It was around 613, 615-ish. This is before the Hijrah. So this is very early on in Islamic history that Abu Bakr is in contact with people in Ethiopia and the Christians in Ethiopia and familiar with the people in Ethiopia. His wives went to the Ethiopian church. They went and they spoke with the Ethiopian king and affirmed that they have the same message. The Ethiopian king, seriously, who sheltered them, said that he has the gospel of Jesus and that the same source that gave the gospel is the same source that gave the Quran. And the companions didn't object. They didn't say, whoa, actually, what you have is a distortion. Mr. King, your grace. What you have, and forgive my insolence, it's a distortion. What you have is not really the Injil. They didn't object. They didn't object to none of that, right? So what we have here is that we have all the evidence that points to the gospel that we have, which, by the way, let me reiterate, the gospel that the Ethiopians had, that the Orthodox Church had, the Coptic Church had, that Muhammad would have been familiar with, is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We have the Garima manuscripts that date to the year 500. So we have manuscript evidence of a gospel during the time before Muhammad that the Christians he was familiar with would have been acquainted with and using. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Garima manuscripts. Okay, he had. So I would like to see what he has to say about that. He said, "Oh, it's been corrupted." We know the argument. It's been corrupted, and they're relying on. It's been substituted. The Bible replaced the actual Torah and the Gospel. Now let's see what his scholars have to say on this. If we go over, let's go over to Ibn Abbas here. Ibn Abbas says, now I'm using Ibn Kathir's tafsir. He quotes Sahih Bukhari, where he quotes Ibn Abbas, and Ibn Abbas says, "Watch this. Is what he says." They alter and distort. What does that mean? They alter and distort, meaning they distort its apparent meanings. They alter and distort, although none can remove any of the words from any of Allah's books. It can't happen. That's what Ibn Abbas says. Nobody can remove any word from any of God's books, but they distort and alter by misinterpretation and distortion of the apparent meanings, right? Relying on books that they wrote themselves. Wahb bin Munabis, continuing the thought, he says that the Torah and the Injil remain as Allah revealed them. Boom. Wait, hold on. Wahb bin Munabi, Ibn Abbas, Ink of the Ummah. I know you're the Ink of the Ummah. I know you've been blessed with the wisdom of the Quran to understand the Quran, but we have a new Muslim here in the 21st century that says, no, actually, Allah's words can be distorted and can be substituted, his words can be removed and displaced. You're wrong, Ibn Abbas. You're wrong, Wahb bin Munabi. You're wrong, Muhammad. Oh, by the way, he brought up and tried to discredit the hadith that we brought up. Now, he admits that Al-Albani grades it as Hassan. Hassan means good. You can't reject that. But he says, oh, we'll go with the hadith science. Okay, going with the hadith science, let's go to Sahih Bukhari and see the narration that he records on this. Sahih Bukhari. Sorry, I think I lost it here. Here it is. Sahih Bukhari 6819.
10 seconds left.
10 seconds? All right, I'll adjust this in my next rebuttal. But I'll just leave it there. We'll see what we got here next.
We'll kick it over to John as well. Folks, want to say, if you haven't yet, hit that like button. We do appreciate your support. Thanks for being with us here at Modern Day Debate. John, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Avery really is bringing out the gems tonight. SubhanAllah, he mentioned Sahih Bukhari, the third hadith in Bukhari. Now, if you've got access to a computer, go there. Go to sunnah.com, click on Bukhari, go to the third hadith. What does it say? Waraka, his understanding of an Injil, it doesn't say that he used to write it in Arabic. That's in Sahih Muslim, okay? It says that he used to explain it to the people, okay? So he had parts of the Injil in Ibrani, Hebrew. This is in Bukhari, that his Injil was in Hebrew, okay? In Sahih Muslim, it says that he used to explain it to the people and translate it to the people in Arabic. So you have to correct that. Let's look at Waraq bin Nawfal. The Prophet, peace be upon him, goes to him after receiving the first portion of Revelation. What does Waraka say? He says, this is the same namus, in that same hadith. He said, this is the same namus, meaning the angel Gabriel, that brought the Torah to Moses. Okay, so this same Christian who you're appealing to, Waraka bin Nawfal in Bukhari, his concept of an Injil was a book that was sent down from Allah. Okay, do you believe Allah gave Jesus a book? Allah, the Muslim God, yeah, that Allah gave Moses the Torah through angel Gabriel. Waraka's concepts of the Torah matches the Islamic concept. Furthermore, Ibn Hajar mentions in the explanation of this hadith, he mentions another hadith which is authentic, where before the Prophet ﷺ went to Waraka, Khadija went to Waraka first, and she told him what had happened to her husband. And Waraka said, this is the same namus, meaning angel Gabriel, that brought the Injil to, guess who? Matthew, Mark, and John? No, to Jesus. So Waraka's understanding of Injil was a singular gospel, a book revealed from Allah through angel Gabriel in Hebrew. Now, you tell me, Avery, this sounds like something that you should refer to as heretical, not something you should be appealing to prove that Waraka had the New Testament Gospels. The New Testament Gospels are not in Hebrew. The Torah wasn't given, according to you, through angel Gabriel, but these beliefs were given. This is the Islamic belief. Secondly, you start to talk about whether Islam has the right understanding of Injil or not. You start pointing out that the church fathers concept is this, that, and the other. That's not the debate here. The debate here is, what does Islam affirm the Bible? So we're speaking about what Islam says about the subject. We're not speaking about whether Islam or Christianity have the correct concept of Torah and Injil. Which one has the correct concept? We're discussing, does Islam affirm the Bible? A secular atheist, if he'd studied this topic properly, could sit here and argue with you with this. You don't have to be a Muslim to argue this point. The point is, we're arguing about, does Islam affirm the Bible? This is an objective thing we can prove. How? By bringing evidence from the Quran and the authentic hadith, not assumptions that because there was some scriptures in Ethiopia, and I admit, and I agree with you, and I agree with your friend Chris, and your teacher Sam Shamoun and David Wood. I agree with all of them that yes, the Bible was in existence at the advent of Islam, but you're assuming that therefore it was in Medina. Yet I'm showing you that historically you can't have that assumption. And even according to the Hadith, there were many we can prove there was an alternative Torah and Injil in Medina at the time of Prophet Muhammad, and you proved it for us by bringing this lovely hadith in Bukhari of Waraka bin Nawfal, that his concept of an Injil was a singular concept of an Injil in Hebrew revealed through angel Gabriel. The next thing you brought is you brought some Bible verses of the Torah. That's irrelevant to the topic. Now, you mentioned Ibn Abbas's quote. You mentioned this is in Ibn Kathir. It's not in Ibn Kathir. It's in Bukhari. Bukhari, in his last chapter on Tawheed, in the chapter 55, where it says, this glorious Quran in Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, which is the preserved tablet. Go to it. Brothers and sisters, go to it. Go to Sahih Bukhari. Go to the last chapter, Tawheed. Scroll down till you see number 55. It'll say, this glorious Quran in Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz. Right? This is the preserved tablet. Bukhari is known that in his chapter headings, he sometimes quotes weak hadith or weak athar. Now, just to clarify, Avery, this is not a hadith. This is a statement, an athar of Ibn Abbas. It's a statement of Ibn Abbas, which you rightly said, but it's not authentic. There's no authentic chain. And guess what? It's not a part of the Sahih. It's not a part of the Sahih. It's not numbered. It's not one of the hadith in Sahih Bukhari. Go to it yourself. You will see that it's in the chapter heading. And Bukhari often uses weak hadith. And the context which he's using this hadith is in reference to the preserved tablet. SubhanAllah. So it ain't a hadith in Bukhari. It ain't in Ibn Kathir, which you mentioned. It's a statement by Ibn Abbas, which is it's not an authentic statement. And as I mentioned, in Bukhari itself, in the Sahih, it mentioned the hadith which I already mentioned, which was where Ibn Abbas says, "Why do you ask the people of Scripture about anything while your book is you have the book revealed from Allah, you read it pure, unaltered, undistorted, etc." So this is some of the things that Avery brought. How much time do I have?
About a minute.
127. Okay. So he's not managed to answer anything really. Everything he's brought has not supported anything he said. He's not brought anything from the Quran or the Hadith or the statement of the Sahaba. All he's focusing on is the fact the Bible was in existence, therefore it was in Medina. One thing I will give just before I go is we mentioned the Waraq bin Nawfal. This is an evidence. One of the evidences that the Injil in Medina was not the Bible. There's another evidence here where Salman al-Farsi, the very famous story of Salman al-Farsi, he became a Christian, he traveled from monk to monk. The final monk he went to, which was in modern-day Turkey, he was seeking knowledge from him. And he said, "Where do I go to seek knowledge now?" He said, "There's none of us left on this religion." He said, "Go to Arabia, there's a prophet to come. He will be," and he gave 3 signs. He described Medina. The prophet will accept a gift, he won't accept charity, and he will have the mark of prophethood. None of these signs are in the Injil or the Torah. And the monk of Salman al-Farsi did takfir. He excommunicated all of the Christians in the Roman Empire. He said, "There's none of us left on this religion." This shows that the true believers that are around, especially the true followers of Jesus, were just a handful. You had the likes of Waraq bin Nawfal, Salman al-Farsi, and a few others. But the Jewish community was slightly bigger, the likes of Abdullah bin Salam, etc.
Thank you very much for that 8-minute rebuttal. Want to let you know, folks, we do have a short Q&A tonight. We are going to have to say we can't take any more questions, but maybe in the next debate. And I think we can squeeze in the ones that we've got, but please, no more questions. I put it in chat as we appreciate those questions, but we just have a limited bit of time tonight. We're going to kick it over to Avery for his 8-minute rebuttal. Thank you very much, Avery. The floor is all yours.
Man, I thought I might have had to do it, James. Ladies, I thought I might have to do it, but John's doing it for me. John himself, as expected, is now throwing all the scholars under the bus. Somebody put the cones out, put the signs up, and warn the scholars not to come across John, because he's looking for any scholar to run them over and just get the little bumps under the wheels to run each scholar under the bus. This man just said that Ibn Abbas's statement is not authentic from Bukhari and said it's not a hadith. Hold on. John, you were right that it's in the book of Tawheed. That's in the hadith. That's in Bukhari's book, hadith collection, my friend. It's in his hadith collection in the book of Tawheed. Now, on Sunnah.com, it doesn't have all the hadith collection. It doesn't have it all. It doesn't have everything. So you got to go somewhere else. Please don't speak because it's going to interrupt. But
sorry, I didn't know my mic's on. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. You mind giving me like maybe a little extra 15 seconds at the end?
You have 20 seconds, no problem.
Okay, I appreciate it. So this is a hadith, and it's Sahih Bukhari who gives the statement in his hadith quoting Ibn Abbas. So he says Sahih Bukhari is inauthentic here. Ibn Abbas's statement is not authentic here. Why? Because Ibn Abbas says that none can remove the words of Allah from any of his books. That's not authentic. That's fabricated. That's a fabricated statement. I'm sorry that we can't trust none of your scholars, man. What are we doing here? Now, here's another thing, guys. He said that Waraka did not write the gospel. He didn't write it. He just explained it. Right? He just talked about it. He just explained it right here. And he said in Sahih Muslim, it says that. Let's see what Sahih Muslim says. This is Sahih Muslim 160a. Sahih Muslim 160a. It says, Waraka was the man who had embraced Christianity in the days of ignorance, and he used to write books in Arabic, and therefore wrote the Injil in Arabic, as God willed that he should write. Sahih Muslim 160a. Waraka wrote the Injil, not just in Hebrew, but also in Arabic, according to Sahih Bukhari and according to Sahih Muslim. So you have an early testimony to a gospel in the existence in the same place of Muhammad during his time by his mentor that you're saying maybe you're going to throw Waraka under the bus now. I don't know. So go ahead, throw Sahih Muslim under the bus now. Throw Waraka under the bus and say, oh, no, this is inauthentic. You could go ahead, be my guest. Now, guys, so he hasn't addressed anything that I said historically about who Muhammad and his companions and his wives would have been acquainted with, who are the Christians, who he would have been talking to. He was acquainted with, specifically, we have explicit statements that he's acquainted with the Orthodox Church, the Orthodox Coptic Oriental Church, the church in Egypt and the church in Ethiopia. They went to Ethiopia. They visited the church in Ethiopia, talked about how beautiful it was. What do you mean, what Christians is he talking about? The same Christians that observed the Nicene Creed, that affirmed all the councils, and that had the manuscripts, that we have the Garima manuscripts, that contained Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Simple. Also, by the way, he went against said, it's not a plurality of gospel, it's one gospel. Well, the church understood the gospel to be one gospel. It's called the fourfold gospel. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John writing the fourfold gospel. It's one gospel, gospel of Jesus with four witnesses. Now, but if we want to get lost in that word here, watch this here. It says this is Sahih Bukhari 3392. The narrated Aisha, by the way. Let's see if he throws Aisha under the bus. The prophet returned to Khadijah while his heart was beating rapidly. Pay attention, guys. She took him to Waraka bin Nawfal, who was a Christian convert who used to read the Gospels in Arabic. Waraka asked, what do you see? So, yeah, I know you're looking confused there, but don't worry, I'm explaining to you. I'm the Sheikh. I can help you out. It says that Waraka in Sahih Bukhari 3392 would read the Gospels, plural, to the people. So not only did he write the Gospels, guys, in Hebrew and Arabic, but he also used to read a plurality of Gospels to the people, according to Sahih Bukhari. I mean, just throw them all under the bus. You got the keys already. You got the keys. You did it already. Now, guys, we have historically the Christians that Muhammad and his companions were familiar with. He has said nothing to that. We have, according to his own historical sources, that they had a gospel in Mecca, in Medina, that Muhammad had access to from his mentor, Waraka. We have Waraka who used to read a plurality of gospels, according to Sahih Bukhari 3392. Now, we also have the Quran paraphrasing verses from the Torah. Paraphrases it. If you go to chapter, how much time I got, James? James? Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Hey guys, tell me if this sounds familiar to you. All right. What are we doing? We just gonna read. I ain't gonna say nothing. We just gonna read. I'm gonna just ask y'all. Chapter 5, verse 46. And in their footsteps, we sent Jesus, son of Mary. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong verse. 45. Here it is. And we ordained for them in the Torah life for life, an eye for an eye, nose for nose, ear for ear, tooth for tooth, and wounds equal for wounds. Let's see where this is paraphrased from, guys. Let's see where this is paraphrased from. Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. Where this is Exodus chapter 21. Exodus chapter 21. We're going to read verse 23. But if there is harm, then you shall pay life for life, an eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. MashaAllah, subhanallah. Paraphrasing the Torah that coincidentally I have in my Bible today. But maybe it's not talking about this one. Maybe there's another Torah in some phantom existence that John has a manuscript of that he's going to show us that has also the same paraphrase or the same quote that he's going to appeal to. Maybe he's going to show us that later. We got chapter 21, verse 48 chapter 21, verse 105 of the Quran. It says that we wrote in the Psalms for David, and my righteous servants shall inherit the land. We wrote in the Zabur, the Psalms of David, my righteous servants shall inherit the land. That's Psalm 37:29. Psalm 37:29 says, but my righteous servants will inherit the land forever. Another paraphrase that the Quran is taking from the scriptures that I have today. So let's line it up. Please answer. Deal with the Christians that Muhammad and his companions and his wives were in communion with, were in contact with in Ethiopia, that had the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Garima Gospels. We have the manuscripts dating before the Quran. Deal with Waraka writing. You said he didn't write it, so I caught you there. You got caught there. You said he didn't write the gospel in Arabic. He wrote the gospel not only in Hebrew, but in Arabic, according to Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. And he read gospels to the people. Deal with that. Deal with the Quran paraphrasing the Torah and the gospel.
We'll kick it over for the final 8-minute rebuttal. This one from John. I want to say thanks so much for your support, folks. And if you have a friend who might enjoy this debate, don't forget to hit that share button and share this to a group online or to a friend online or maybe text message. With that, thanks very much, John. The floor is all yours.
Okay, so first of all, he mentioned that this statement by Ibn Abbas is a part of Sahih Bukhari. I'd like him to tell me what number is it? What number is the hadith in Sahih Bukhari so we can all check it? Secondly, you mentioned Sahih Bukhari. You know Sahih Bukhari is a very prominent collection of hadith. What you still didn't answer about the hadith which was on the judgment cushion, the Torah that was on the judgment cushion, which the whole Muslim dilemma has been based on for the past 7 years. Okay, the Torah that was on the judgment cushion doesn't have the judgment of your Torah. It has, where does your Torah has 4 witnesses or the eyeliner? So you also need to answer that. Also, I would like to ask you, you mentioned the example of an eye for an eye. An eye for an eye law is one of the oldest laws in humanity. It actually predates the Torah, actually. The Hammurabi law, check it out, the Hammurabi law, the Akkadian law of an eye for an eye is one of the most foundational beliefs and laws which humans have had. Now, you have a Torah today, and what you labeled the Torah was authored after the real Torah that was revealed to Moses. So it's very possible that you could be echoing parts of the Torah, or it's possible that you may have got this law from the Hammurabi law. The point is, because we don't have an isnad for your Torah, we don't know the source of these laws. You also mentioned a similarity between the Psalms and the Zabur, same thing. The fact is, your Psalms, your collection of 150 poems by unknown authors, does not correlate to the Islamic Zabur, which was a book given to David. It's not the same thing. You can pull your face all you like. You know it's not the same thing. You ain't going to fool the people who have intellect, okay? The people will understand who's going to win this debate. The people who have been given wisdom can see the evidence with their own eyes. Same with the Injil. Now, of course, you've got to at least admit this one, that the Islamic Injil is a book given to Jesus, whereas the New Testament Gospels and the New Testament is clearly not speaking about the Injil. So the fact that he shown that there are parallels in the Bible is not surprising, because the Bible came after the true revelations were revealed. Things like Moses parting the sea. There's a great story in the Bible about Moses parting the sea, Jesus performing miracles, being born miraculously. It doesn't mean that these stories were in the actual Torah given to Moses. It doesn't mean that these stories were in the Injil given to Jesus. It doesn't mean it's revelation. Somebody may have witnessed these events and wrote about it. And this is why these stories have been preserved. Just because it correlates and there's parallels, it doesn't mean it's revelation, and it doesn't mean it belongs to the Torah. There's alternative sources of truth, and you're just assuming that parallels are the same thing. the funny thing is that the eye for an eye concept, okay, in the Quran, is different to the one in the Bible. The Bible says burning for burning. This is a fundamental flaw against Islam. Does not confirm, does not allow people to burn. Okay, so it's not a direct quote. There's no direct quotes from the Quran and your Bible, and this is something totally different. Another point I wanted to make. We got the eye for an eye. How long do I have? Sorry. Okay. So also he's asking me about who were the Christians in Medina. Well, as I mentioned, we have the likes of Salman al-Farsi, who basically excommunicated all of Avery's understanding of Christians. The Torah and Injil in Medina, and it's an authentic hadith narrated by Sheikh al-Bani says this is authentic. It mentions that in the Injil, there will be 70,000 people from the Ummah of Muhammad that will be allowed into Jannah. So let me ask you, is this in your Injil? No. So subhanAllah, you have many, as I said, in my book, chapter 6, we have over 65 hadith, direct evidences proving there was an alternative Torah and Injil that was in Medina, and none of it correlates to the Bible. You have not shown any evidence that the Bible was in Medina. You've shown evidence that the Bible was around at the time. You mentioned in Ethiopia, there were the Bible was around, and I don't disagree with you on that. The point we're saying is historically, there were many alternative sects with alternative scriptures, and you're assuming that the Bible was there, and I am providing lots of evidence to show you there was an alternative Torah and Injil that doesn't match yours. I've mentioned the Torah of the judgment cushion. You've not answered that with the 4 witnesses. I've mentioned Waraq bin Nawfal's Injil, which doesn't correlate to your Injil. Okay, it was a singular Injil. Oh, and by the way, that hadith you mentioned, Bukhari, where is it? Go to Bukhari 3392. He says Gospels. He's reading the translation. If you go to the Arabic, it says Injil. It's one, it's singular. It doesn't say Anajil. Can you not read Arabic? Go and read it. Ask your friend, Doc and Jay, in the, let them cover this. They're going to read it to you tomorrow in front of everyone to show you it doesn't say Gospels. It says Gospel, one singular gospel revealed from Allah, the Muslim God, through Angel Gabriel to Jesus, the Prophet of God. SubhanAllah. You cannot back down. This is not your Injil. If you're claiming, then you have to prove the Bible was there. None of the evidence you've shown is supporting that the Bible was in Medina at that time. Also, how long do we have now? Sorry. Okay, we'll go to another example. In the Torah that was in Medina, it says, "We have sent you as a witness and a giver of glad tidings, a warner and a guardian of the illiterates. You are my slave, my messenger. I have named you Al-Mutawakkil." Okay, there's a clear description of Muhammad in the Torah in Medina. This is in Bukhari. Do you believe there's a clear description of Muhammad in the Bible? No. SubhanAllah, there's many examples. You go to Abdullah bin Salam in Tirmidhi. It says that there's a description of Muhammad. It is written in the Torah, and that Isa will be buried next to him. That Jesus, when he comes back and he dies as a prophet, he will be buried next to Prophet Muhammad. Whether you agree with this or not, this is the Muslim belief. And the hadith affirm, Abdullah bin Salam said that Muhammad is mentioned in the Torah that was in Medina, and that Jesus will be buried next to him. I've given you many examples. In the Torah in Medina, it mentions Surah Mulk. Surah Mulk, which is in the Quran, it's a surah in the Quran, a whole chapter in the Quran. Abdullah bin Salam claims that this was in the original Torah, that this has actually been revealed before, and the Quran was re-revealing it. This is another authentic hadith. Now, again, Muslims are not necessarily saying that 10
seconds.
We're not necessarily affirming the Torah and Injil that was in Medina. This is the Torah and Injil that the Jews and Christians had. Our concept is the Torah and Injil that was sent down to Moses and Jesus, respectively.
Thank you very much. We will jump into the open dialogue. So the way this is, I should say, cross sections, because we're actually going to have 15 minutes where Avery will be asking questions to John, and then vice versa for 15 minutes. My understanding is you guys would like to keep this pretty strict. So in other words, Avery's asking questions and John's just going to respond for that 15 minutes, and then vice versa for the other 15 minutes where John will be the only one that's allowed to ask questions. So we'll jump right into this. Avery, the floor is all yours to interrogate John.
Thanks. John, do you have a single manuscript of this Injil or Psalms or Torah that you have been talking about that have any of these quotes that you've been referring to? I've mentioned manuscripts of the New Testament earlier in our debate. Do you have any manuscripts of this Injil or Torah or Psalms that you're talking about?
The position of the Injil that was in Medina is a similar position to what the New Testament Gospels are in, because you don't have any New Testament Gospel, you don't have the originals of the New Testament Gospels. All you have is later manuscripts.
Yeah, I'm just asking if you have any.
Similarly, with the Injil that was in Medina, this is not the Muslim Injil. This
My
is
brother,
Injil
you're wasting my time. Do you have any manuscripts of this Injil that you're talking about?
I'm explaining now.
Yeah, it's a yes. Do you have any manuscripts?
One yes or no question?
Yes.
Yes or no answer. Yeah?
This one is a yes or no. If you have any.
No, we don't have any.
Okay, thank you. So you have no manuscripts of this Injil you're talking about, Torah or Psalms. Okay, thank you. Like I mentioned, we have manuscripts of that existed before the Quran. Can you show a verse in the Quran that says that the Torah and Injil have been generally, universally, and textually corrupted? Meaning that all Torahs, all Gospels, all Psalms, everywhere, generally, universally, and textually have been corrupted.
No, and I don't believe that.
Okay, so you don't have the. Oh, you don't believe that? Okay,
no,
because you said it sounded like you said that in your opening statement that it's been corrupted. Oh, so you misunderstood. Yeah. All right. So is your position then that there is a Torah, Gospel, and Psalms that are intact, that are preserved here in our realm today?
No.
Okay, so then your position is that it is generally, textually, and universally lost and distorted?
Today, yes.
So that is your position then. All right, so can you show me a verse?
Not at the time of the Prophet Muhammad. There's a difference. You mentioned at the time of Prophet Muhammad. I'm mentioning about today.
Okay, so back in the time of Muhammad, they had it nice and preserved in their time, while today it's been lost. Is that your?
I never said that. You said that. Do you want me to answer? Do you want me to give an explanation or yes or no?
Oh no, just simple. I mean, you can expound if you need to, but just that I feel like that was a simple question. So
you want me to expand?
Yeah, just to be clear, you're saying that the Torah and the Gospel and the Psalms in Muhammad's time was true, used for judgment, but now it's gone. Now they're
gone. Not fully, no.
All right. So where are these? Can we find the authentic parts of this Torah and manuscripts?
In the Hadith.
In the Hadith.
Yes, in the Hadith.
So is the Hadith Torah, Gospel, and Psalms?
Pardon?
Are the Hadith Torah, Gospel, and Psalms?
No, the Hadith are not the Torah.
Okay, so they're not. Okay, so you don't have them.
I got you. Your questions are silly.
They're simple.
Maybe to your audience, but not to mine.
Maybe.
They'll see what you don't understand it, but don't worry, I'll elaborate.
I got you. You said that the understanding of the Torah was that it was the 10 Commandments. Can you show me in the Quran where it says the Torah is the 10 Commandments?
No, I'll show you in the Bible though.
Wait. Why are you going to the Bible? That's not the Torah or the Gospel or anything.
I said in your understanding of the Torah.
My understanding of the Torah. Why are you arguing my understanding of it? This debate isn't my understanding of the Torah or anything.
No, the debate is, does Islam affirm the Bible? So when we're talking about the Bible, we're discussing what is the Torah from the Christian perspective. What is the Torah in that Bible?
No, I made clear of what I was proving today. That your Quran affirms, when we're talking about the Bible, specifically the Torah, the Gospel, and the Psalms that it mentions.
Okay.
So that's what
and is the 10 Commandments in the Bible?
The 10 Commandments are in the Torah, yes.
In the Pentateuch, right?
They're in the Torah.
Okay, yeah.
You affirm that the 10 Commandments are in the Torah?
Do you mean the Pentateuch? I'm trying to understand you.
What is the Pentateuch?
The first 5 books of the Bible.
And what are the first 5 books of Moses also called?
The Pentateuch.
What else?
The books of Moses.
Come on.
The Torah.
All right. Let's try this again.
I'm trying to understand.
Let's try this again.
We're
The first
the
5
same
books
thing,
of
right?
Moses. Hold on. The first 5 books of Moses are identified as the Pentateuch, which is also known as what, John?
What is labeled today the Torah? Yeah.
Thank you. So the Pentateuch is known as the Torah. So you affirm that the 10 Commandments are in the Torah, correct?
Yes.
Thank you very much. You just gave me the way.
And I affirm that the 10 Commandments, according to Moses, was the Torah itself.
I got you.
In Deuteronomy 27, 8 to 10, it says that Moses' concept of the Torah was what was on the stones. This is before the Pentateuch was even written.
I got
so
you.
Moses says, where
are you getting this from?
And you shall write clearly all of the words on this Torah on these stones.
On this what?
So the concept of Torah, according to Moses, was on the tablets.
Is that true?
Now later,
wait, stop, because you're draining my time because I didn't ask all this. Is that true?
Okay. What?
Is that true? Is that true of what you just read from the Torah that we have today? Is that true? That the 10 Commandments were on the tablet?
No, we can't. I can't affirm or deny.
But I'm asking you to affirm or deny right now because this is the debate. I'm asking.
I can't. Islam does not speak whether it was 10 Commandments or not.
So then, it does. Your Quran does mention the 10 Commandments. It just doesn't tell us whether it's the Torah or not.
The Hadith mentioned 10 Commandments, but we don't know if that was only the Torah. We don't know if it had more or less or anything. What I'm saying to you is your concept of the Torah, Moses' concept of the Torah,
how do you know Moses'
concept of the Torah?
How do you know Moses? How do you know Moses' concept of the Torah?
I'm saying according to you.
No, it's not according to me. You said according to Moses. How do you know Moses?
Okay, let me rephrase it.
Okay.
According to you, Moses' concept of the Torah was what was on the tablets.
All right, thank you. According to Moses, what was the Torah?
According to Moses, what was the Torah?
Yes.
The book that was revealed.
What was that?
Allah,
you're just saying, what was that?
What do you mean, what was that?
What was that? When Moses was to open up the Torah or recite the Torah to the people, what was he using? What did he have? What did the people have?
What do you mean, what did the people have? At what time?
Because you're talking about Moses. What was Moses' understanding of what the Torah was? What was he reading to the people?
It was a book from Allah. It was a book that was revealed from Allah.
What was that? You're not telling me what it was.
We don't know. We don't have details
there it is.
On what it is.
Oh, no worries. You don't know what it is. So if you don't know what it is, then you can't tell me what it's not. You can't tell me that. Wait, stop.
No, we can't tell you what it wasn't.
Habibi, this is my time.
Because your concept is what was authored by Moses, and that's not our concept.
James, he's cutting me off of my time for some reason. Is my mic like not going or something?
On mute. I'd be the same way in terms of protective of my time. Yeah. But in some cases, I want to let John finish if it's in the ballpark of what's relevant. But I don't blame you for wanting to protect your time. I'll give you 30 seconds back just because my own dialogue, my own speech here has been so long.
Okay, yeah, I liked him to finish too, just as long. But when he starts going off and on, that's where I try to cut it. Like, let's try to keep it concise. All right, so thank you. You said that you don't know what Moses' understanding of the Torah was, and you don't know what the Torah was at all. So therefore, you can't tell me what it's not.
I never said that.
You did. You clearly just said you don't know what the Torah was or what Moses' understanding.
You're putting words in my mouth.
You just said that. Okay.
You're putting words in my mouth, and you expect a yes or no answer.
What was the Injil written?
Yes.
By who?
By Jesus and his companions.
All right, can you show me the Quran where it says Jesus wrote the Injil, or give me one hadith that says Jesus wrote the Injil?
Not on me, no. I can't give you that. No.
So where are you getting this from, that Jesus wrote the Injil?
We have evidence that it was written from
I know,
Quran.
By who?
From Allah. It says it's written.
No, that's not what I mean. What is your evidence of who wrote it?
Well, it's an inference, like your inference about the Bible being in Medina.
So you don't know. Is that correct?
It's an inference
An inference from where? An inference from where?
If you don't think inferences we can know through inference, then you've lost this debate.
An inference
Because
from where?
your whole point about the Bible being in Medina is an inference. My inference is that Jesus wrote it. If he didn't write it, it would have been his companions.
Well, I gave you Waraka explicitly saying that the gospel's there in where Muhammad is. So here's my question to you: when you say you have an inference, you're going on an inference that Jesus wrote the gospel. Where
or his companions?
Huh?
Or his companions.
Well, you said Jesus or his. When you're saying Jesus, so I'm attacking that. Or unless you want to let that go, do you affirm that Jesus might have wrote the gospel?
Let me clarify.
Okay.
When we say wrote, I don't want you to misunderstand this to mean the words of Jesus or his companions. I mean simply recording what Allah has given to Jesus. You have to be technical here. The point is that Jesus was given the Injil, okay, and either Jesus or his companions would have recorded the words of Allah that Allah gave Jesus. This does not mean that this is written in the sense that it's the words of Jesus or the words of the companions of Jesus, as the New Testament Gospels claim to be.
I understand. Okay, so your understanding is that Jesus or his companions, the companions of Jesus, would have written down what he was preaching, what God has revealed to him.
That's my inference. Yeah.
All right, nice. Okay. According to the Christians, would the companions of Jesus, at least some of them at least, have written down the revelation that he was bringing of the gospel?
Yeah.
So it sounds like to me that you have the same understanding of the gospel that I do, that the companions of Jesus would have written down the revelation that he was preaching about. Thank you so much.
It sounds like that to you. Do you want me to answer? Do you want me to respond, or are you just going to put words in my mouth?
Oh yeah, I just got a question.
Would you like a response?
I got a question.
Would you like a response?
No, it's not. I didn't ask you anything.
Because the people know that's not what I said.
I didn't ask you anything.
Technically, if we're sticking to strictly questions, then I've got to hold you to it, Avery, that if you summarize it in a way that John doesn't like, I do have to kind of press you to only ask questions to John.
True. That's fair enough. My bad, John. My bad.
Yeah, because Avery was misrepresenting my position.
I didn't misrepresent you at all. I'm just quoting you verbatim.
It's a question.
Okay. Okay. So let's see here. So you understand that Christians would have had this belief that the companions of Jesus would have written down the gospel.
Recorded. Do you have a question? Or are you
I'm building up to my question. What's
the question?
Right, I'm building up to my question right here. So you have that understanding of that, and you have that understanding that the companions would have written the Injil. Were the companions of Jesus? Dude, stop interrupting so I can ask my question.
I can't hear you.
I'm loading up. Is my volume good? Okay, I'm loading up. So were the companions of Jesus believers?
The companions, of course.
They were believers? Okay. It says in chapter 61, verse 6, that Allah would have, he made the disbelievers of Jesus victorious over the disbelievers of Jesus. And in chapter 3, verse 55, it says that they will be victorious and remain victorious over the disbelievers until the day of resurrection. So did Allah keep his promise in making sure that the followers of Jesus were victorious in spreading his message?
Yes.
Okay, so that means that the disbelievers never successfully distorted or got rid of the message of the followers of Jesus, right?
No.
Are you affirming or denying? Sorry.
Do you want me to explain?
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to understand what
if you can in like 30 seconds, because I don't know how much.
Okay, if you want to understand what this verse means, go to the Tafsir. The Tafsir says that this was fulfilled by the coming of Islam and the true followers of Isa, the remnants of them who were around, accepted Islam and became Muslim. And it's Islam that is dominant, which is clearly dominant over the world today.
Yeah. How long? Yeah, I got you. How long were
they? The understanding of this, if you go to the Tafsir, it's referring to them who actually, this was fulfilled by the coming of Islam.
I got you. So I'm looking at, I just want to just give if we're doing this. In Ibn Kathir's Tafsir, he mentions how this is talking about even the believers in Jesus's time. And also Jalalain says the believers in Jesus' time and those that will follow them, that they will continue to be victorious over the disbelievers, not only in battle, but also in argument, meaning in religious debate.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, that's correct. Okay, good.
So the way that happened is through martyrdom, through being shaheed.
Yeah, but was there ever a time?
Answer or not?
Yeah, well, this is my question. Was there ever a time where the followers of Jesus were not uppermost over the disbelievers?
I think your understanding of uppermost is that they will be the most dominant.
That's what it says.
It doesn't mean they're the most dominant.
Yeah, well, Jalalain says they are dominant in argument and they are dominant in battle. So when it comes to religious belief and debate, they win, and when it comes to battle, they win as well.
I don't know what
that's Jalalain. There's Jalalain Tafsir.
Yeah, I'm not sure what point you're trying to make. The point I'm saying is the tafsir of this, to answer this, it was answered with the coming of Islam, and with the initial followers of Jesus, it was answered with their martyrdom, the fact that they will be victorious going to Jannah through being martyrs. And that's what happened to a lot of the...
I got you. None of the tafsir says that they will be victorious through martyrdom. It says that they'll be victorious through argument.
But what tafsirs don't say that?
This is it's not an Ibn Kathir that it says. Do you have a tafsir that they're victorious in martyrdom?
I'll have to check. I don't have to hand, no.
Okay, for sure. So everything that I'm looking at, Ibn Kathir, Jalalain, Madudi, they all mention how it's talk about their belief system and their battle and their numbers, them being dominant, which group were accurately conveying the message of Jesus. Because it's like, let me ask you this.
So who's the dominant Christian group? Catholics.
Exactly.
Are you a Catholic?
Well, God bless the Catholics. They're Trinitarians. Wait, you can't ask me questions. You can ask me later.
No, I'm just wondering. God bless the Catholics. Group, but you're not
brother, let me ask my question, bro. Let me ask my question. You said that you said that the dominant group were the Catholics, which you just
you're not a part of that dominant group, correct?
Excuse me. You just gave me the debate because
I want to give Avery a chance to ask this last question, and we've only got like several seconds, and we'll give John a chance to respond. But I don't want to cut you off mid question. So if you're able to ask this question, Avery, we'll let John respond, and then we have to go to the next section.
Beautiful. Since you said that the dominant group are the Catholics, and Allah says that the believers, the followers of Jesus, will remain dominant, uppermost over the disbelievers from then all the way till the day of judgment. Does that mean that the Catholics are actually the true believers? Or did Allah fail to keep his promise and the disbelievers actually succeeded?
Is that your question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, I would just go to the tafsir of this, which is it was fulfilled by the coming of Islam. That's the best I can answer right now.
I hate to cut us off, but it is something that you're able to follow up on, either of you, during your closings as well, or if you want to sneak it into the Q&A. But we are going to go over to John, interrogating Avery now for 15 minutes. John, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. So let's get to the point. So Avery, can you just list the 10 commandments for me? You know, we were talking about the 10 commandments and that this was the concept of the Torah of Moses. Can you list them for me, please?
Sure. Let me just go ahead and pull them up here for you. All right. So Exodus 20, it says, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall make for yourself no carved images. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. And you shall remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Honor your mother and your father. You shall not murder.
You
shall not commit adultery.
You shall not steal.
You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness to your neighbor. You shall not covet.
Is that the only 10 commandments, or do we have another set in the Bible?
This is what we have. That's what I just read.
Okay, Exodus 34, 14 to 26 gives a different set of 10 commandments. So not, there's a disagreement amongst these two scriptures on what the actual set of 10 commandments are. I think it works out to either 14 or 16. However, what's interesting is the real set of 10 commandments has been preserved in the Hadith. So in Tirmidhi, in the authentic Hadith, the Jews came to the Prophet and asked him, what are the 9 commandments Okay. And the Prophet peace be upon him, said, do not associate anything with Allah. Don't steal. Don't commit unlawful intercourse. Don't take a life which Allah has made prohibited, except for what is required. Do not take an innocent person to someone in authority to kill him. Don't practice magic. Don't consume riba. And don't falsely accuse the chaste women, nor turn or flee on the battlefield. And the 10th commandment is specifically for you, meaning the Jews, which is don't violate the Sabbath. To which the Jews in Medina said and acknowledged the Prophet Muhammad as a prophet. And they said, you have spoken the correct thing. This is an authentic hadith in Tirmidhi. And this does not coincide with your 10 commandments and your 2 sets of 10 commandments. So clearly the Jews of Medina had an alternative Torah. So this is an important point. Do these 10 commandments that I've just read to you from the Hadith match your Old Testament?
Okay, so first of all, you didn't substantiate that Exodus 34 is offering a different 10 commandments than the first. At best, what you have here is a progression of the story. Since what I read in the 10 commandments is in Exodus 20, then you jump to Exodus 34, which is at a different place in the story of Moses and the Exodus, where you have the Lord said to Moses, cut for yourself 2 tablets of stone, like the first, and I will write on the tablets.
I don't want to hear that. I want to. The question I have for you.
You just monologued. It sounds like you want a dialogue here. So
what I'll say. The question was, do these 10 commandments that I just read to you, which Prophet Muhammad said and the Jews in Medina affirmed, do they correlate to your set of 10 commandments?
Okay, so I'm not allowed to refute the monologue that you went on without asking me a question, but now you want me to answer a question. So okay, so I'll go ahead and answer
the question. No problem.
So can you repeat the part about commandments that you're reading about? What the source?
Yeah, the commandments. Do not associate anything with Allah. Don't steal. Don't commit unlawful intercourse.
No, I mean, what is this? What is it? What is this saying? Like, what is the reference? What is it referring to?
What do you mean? What is it referring to? I've just
like who's speaking and who's who's quoting.
The Jews came to Prophet Muhammad and asked him what were the commandments that were given to Moses. Okay. He lists the commandments. The commandments don't match your Bible. I was asking you if they
say the 10 commandments that were given to Moses.
I was asking if they matched your commandments. You said no. And that's it.
Are you asking if it matches the 10 commandments or does it match any commandments in the Bible?
No, I'm asking, did it match your 10 commandments?
Okay, does it mention the 10 commandments in that hadith?
Yes.
It says so they asked what were the 10 commandments because it didn't say like.
No, it says what were the 9 commandments.
Okay,
and then the Prophet gives the final commandment, which was to them. Okay, so it's not even they were hiding the final commandment, which was to keep the Sabbath. This is one of the things that the Jews were trying to do. My point is, this is regarding the 10 commandments. The Jews affirm these commandments. Okay. One of them is don't practice magic. Don't consume riba. Don't accuse chaste women. None of these things appear to be in your understanding of Torah. Okay. That's the point I was making.
So can I answer? Because so number one,
I think we've already got.
No, I get to answer you now.
If you can make it quick, yeah, because I don't want you to waffle on.
Well, I don't get it. You're giving monologues, and then what?
No, I was quoting that to see.
Avery, we'll give you a chance to give a challenge to that point made by John.
Yeah, like I don't like the way he's doing this is a little weird here.
But right now is a good time to use this time to.
All right, for sure. Okay, so number one, the hadith doesn't mention the 10 commandments. You said it is talking about the some 9 commandments that they're asking about. Secondly, it sounds like you're saying if what we have, like what they reference, doesn't match your Bible, then it's not talking about what you have. John, that doesn't follow here. If anything, it sounds like your people are getting it wrong. Or 2, you could just take that up with Allah, who gets it wrong when he's actually paraphrasing from the Torah that I have right now in Exodus 21, life for life, eye for an eye, and so on and so forth. So.
Okay, thanks.
I don't know what this proves.
Can you give me the number of the hadith which you mentioned about Ibn Abbas? You said Ibn Abbas is in Bukhari about him saying none can change the words of Allah. Yeah. Can you give me the hadith number?
I don't remember the number, but it's in the book of Tawheed.
Yeah, it doesn't have a number because it's not a part of the collection.
They do have numbers actually. They
It
do have
doesn't
numbers.
actually. It doesn't. It's a part of the chapter heading. It's not recorded
Okay.
in Sahih
No worries.
Bukhari.
No worries. On
No
my
worry.
channel, I'll go ahead and post the number.
In your channel, go ahead and post the number.
Yeah.
And then so everyone can see.
Sure.
Also in Sahih Bukhari.
Wait, you do affirm that it's in the book of Tawheed, right?
It's in the chapter heading. It's not part of the Sahih
But
Bukhari.
it's in the book of Tawheed, right?
It's in the chapter heading. You don't understand the concept of Sahih Bukhari. You know.
Lord
anyway,
have mercy. He doesn't even know what he's reading.
Just quickly before we go, the 4 witnesses in the eyeliner pot, the Torah that is quoted on the judgment cushion, which everyone, is going to remember. The actual judgment that was given spoke about the 4 witnesses in the eyeliner pot. Is this in your Torah, or is this a heretical Torah that was around?
That's not in the Torah that I have today, no.
Okay, so it is clearly at least an alternative Torah that was in Medina at the time of Prophet Muhammad.
It's a
Considering the whole Muslim dilemma is based on the judgment cushion and the Prophet putting it on and saying, I believe in this, and the one who revealed this, and the judgment itself doesn't agree with your Torah, shows me that the Muslim dilemma is finished today. You're finished, Avery.
All right,
There's no chance.
I hate to do this, but I've got to press you, John, to ask a question to Avery.
Can I respond to that, what he just did? Because he's been responding, giving monologues. Can I respond to that?
You said it, man. You said it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Tom, he's not going to be happy with you, man.
I bet. And neither is Hamza going to be happy with you, because you're making the same mistake again. You're saying, this isn't, if you don't have this in your Torah today, then it's not talking about your Torah. That doesn't logically follow, because you have your Quran that's literally paraphrasing from my Torah, from my Psalms, almost verbatim, but it's a paraphrase, not a direct quote, but almost verbatim. But so if you have some mention of a quote that doesn't exist or is butchered, that doesn't mean that, it's not talking about your Torah. That doesn't follow, John. You got to do better than that, man.
Okay. Do I have any more time? What we're on now?
Definitely. You have 6 minutes and 20 seconds.
Oh, that's great. Okay, let's go. Do you have any proof that the Bible is in Medina? What is your evidence that the Bible was in Medina?
Were the Christians there in Medina?
There was one Christian in Medina, Waraka bin Nawfal, who you kindly quoted from Bukhari, who believes in a singular Injil revealed from Allah through Jesus, through Angel Gabriel. There was one Christian in Mecca.
Yeah.
So there was Salman al-Farsi in Medina, who basically did takfir and on the whole of Christendom.
Yeah.
So, I'm asking you, do you have any proof that the Bible was in Medina?
Yeah. So it sounds like you just actually, gave me the gem and affirmed that Waraka bin Nawfal, a Christian, had the gospel in Medina. So yes.
It doesn't say that. So
yes, it does.
So your proof is Waraka bin Nawfal. Am I correct? Is that your proof?
That's what it says.
So you don't have any other proof?
Is it a lie?
Now I'm asking you, do you have any other proof of the Bible being
all the verses in the Quran that say that the gospel is with the Christians?
Okay, great. So the verses
in Medina,
from the Quran,
wherever they are.
Let me write this down. The verses from the Quran, the judgment cushion, and Waraka bin Nawfal hadith. Is that your evidence that the Bible is in Medina?
The Quran, all the Quran verses.
All the Quran verses and the judgment cushion and Waraka bin Nawfal hadith. Is this your evidence that the Bible is in Medina?
All your Islamic sources, my friend.
Okay, so that's all you have.
That's what I have for you.
And none of them
that are relevant for you.
Now, do you have any proof
no
that the Quran and the Sunnah is actually speaking about about your Bible?
Say that again.
Do you have any proof from the Quran or the Sunnah that it's actually referring to your Bible? All these verses.
Yeah, I showed the proof. So number one, I showed how.
Considering, sorry, just to add something to the question, just so you know, bearing in mind that the Islamic concept of Torah clearly describes Muhammad, the Sahaba, and also describes jihad. That the Torah and Injil, according to the Quran, also mention jihad. So my point is, just bear that in mind when you answer the question.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So I gave you the proof earlier, and it's something that you haven't responded to earlier. I gave you the proof of the Ethiopian manuscripts that existed even before the Quran. that
I
existed
understand.
in the year 500. You
Yeah.
have the Quran paraphrasing from the Torah that I have today. You have the
Okay.
Quran paraphrasing from the Psalms that I have today, and saying
Okay.
that the gospel is there with the Christians in their possession. They have it in between their hands. So we have
Yeah.
paraphrases. We have acquaintance with the Christians,
Okay.
with the Orthodox Church that had Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And by
Okay.
the way,
Thank
you
you.
misquoted the hadith. You lied about the hadith about the 9 commandments. It says 9 signs, not commandments.
Ayah, it says. Ayah.
Yes,
These are
sign. You
commands.
said commandments.
No, ayah means from Allah. They
Signs.
are commands from Allah.
No, ayah are signs. Ayah
Ayat.
means signs. You lied. You just got
Ayah
caught.
has many meanings.
It doesn't mean
Arabic
commandments.
is not like
It doesn't mean commandments.
Arabic is not
want
like
to press
American
this
English,
into the
bro.
closings, just because in case you have more questions,
You
that
got
want
caught,
to clear out.
John.
What are you talking about? What did you say? How long do I have now?
You have 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Okay, so your evidence of the Bible in Medina is Walak bin Nawfal, the judgment cushion, the positive verses that seem to speak about the Quran. This is going to be a problem for you after this debate. And the fact that the Bible existed, therefore it was in Medina. That's an inference.
You have a question?
Yeah, the question is, Walaka, he was open to there being a prophet after Jesus. Do you also believe that there were prophets after Jesus, or do you follow the Catholic understanding that there isn't prophets after Jesus?
Well, the Catholic. Well, let me correct you on the Catholic understanding, just like I had to correct you on the Hadith that you misquoted and lied about. The Catholic understanding is that there is nobody that walks in the office of prophethood. However, there are people who have the gift of prophecy, who are able to prophesy, who the Spirit gives this gift to. So there are prophets in that sense.
But they're not full prophets. They have
they are prophets. They are not prophets in the sense of walking in the office of prophethood like Jesus, like Elijah.
So according to you,
they have the gift of prophecy.
Do believe in prophets after Jesus?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good clarification you made. What else was I? It's funny you mentioned the concept of the Nicene Creed 325, because this is part of your evidence that the Bible that was in Ethiopia was contained the Nicene Creed historically. But what was the concept of creed before the Nicene Creed, and the concept of Bible before Nicaea? Was there a Bible before Nicaea? I'm not saying the Bible. I'm not saying Nicaea compiled the Bible. I'm saying before Nicaea, was the Bible compiled?
Okay. I'm not exactly sure on that.
I didn't word that very well.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me reword that. And what I'm trying to say, what was the Christian concept of Bible before Nicaea?
The collection of the New Testament and the Old Testament.
So you're claiming that the New Testament and the Old Testament was collected prior to Nicaea?
Well, yeah. They had the writings of the apostles. They had the writings of the prophets. They had it circulating around the churches and different areas with bishops and stuff like that. So, I mean, yeah, they had the collections of these books. Biblios is just a collection of books. Man, that question.
We're out of time.
Pardon?
We're out of time. That's at least for the cross section. So we actually have a short Q&A. This is only about 10 minutes. So I do want to let you know, folks, we won't have time to get through every question probably. And for sure, don't ask any more questions just because we want to make sure that we keep to that roughly 10 minutes of Q&A. So we're going to jump right into it. Thanks very much for your question. This one first coming in from, and by the way, there are closing statements after the Q&A. So this is a short Q&A, 10 minutes, and then we'll have those 5-minute closing statements. Bonds says, we have Bible manuscripts from before Muhammad's time, and since he confirmed those texts, we can conclude the Bible is not corrupted. I'll give you a chance to respond, John. So during the Q&A, not all of them some of them are comments instead of questions.
So what was the question exactly? Because it was more of a statement.
Let's see. They haven't put it in the form of a question. If you want, I can try to put it in the form of a question, but I think that this is just if you want to respond to it. But they say we have
Try
Bible
again, go on.
manuscripts from before Muhammad's time, and since he confirmed those texts, we conclude the Bible is not corrupted. Would you agree?
Okay, so they're basically saying that because the Bible, this is basically Avery's inference that he's got, that because the Bible existed at the time of Muhammad, he's inferring that it was in Medina, and he's inferring that these ayah in the Quran and the Hadith are actually, when it speaks about affirming what is with them, saying that the Torah and Injil has the hukm of Allah, and these type of verses, that it is inferring that this is referring to the Bible. What I'm saying is, yes, I'm acknowledging that the Bible was in existence in the world at that time, but I'm saying there's no evidence that it was actually being used in Medina. And today I've provided evidence to show that the Islamic concept of Torah and Injil is fundamentally different than the Judeo-Christian Bible, and that the Torah and Injil in Medina was a different alternative Torah and Injil. Now, I'm not saying that was necessarily the full Torah and Injil sent down from Moses and it was fully correct. This was the Jews and Christians' understanding of Scripture in Medina. All I'm merely saying is that it was an alternative Torah and Injil. And I've shown you historically that there's many other chances, many other ways of explaining this through the fact that there were many different heretical groups or different theological schools that existed in the first 7 centuries, and many alternative scriptures that were not the Bible.
You got it. Thank you very much. This question coming in from, I do appreciate it, the Uralic tribe says Muhammad was never prophesied or predicted to come as the last prophet of God in the Bible. Plus, many more prophets will appear in Jerusalem in the last 7 years of the world. So how is he the last? I think this is again for you, John.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think Muhammad is prophesied in the Bible. I don't think the Bible has prophecy. I don't think it is from God. It's a collection of writings by people. Allah mentions, woe to those who write a book and claim it's from Allah. This is a book which is authored by humans. Now, is it possible Muhammad is mentioned in the Bible? Yes, it's possible. Why? Because the Bible was authored after the Torah was revealed from God and after the Injil was revealed from God to Jesus. Therefore, it's very possible that these human authors were echoing these prophecies. And this is why some of my Muslim colleagues have actually found some possible explanations of Muhammad, but this is not a position that I hold. I prefer not to delve into it because of the lack of authenticity of the Bible and the lack of credibility. We cannot affirm where these sources came from. So I don't like to use the word prophecy with the Bible.
You got it. Want to address the elephant in the room. Most of these questions are for John just because we happen to have a primarily atheist and Christian audience. And we do hope you feel welcome if you are a Muslim. In fact, that poll in the live chat is still up. We had 2,000 people. So feel free to vote there, whether you be Christian, atheist, Muslim, you name it. We're glad you're here. This one coming in, they say, Muhammad swore over the Torah, which is the same Torah we have today. End of debate. John, do you agree?
Oh, have you not been following? Have you not been following the debate? I've clearly outlined that the judgment cushion incident, the judgment of the Torah that was on this judgment cushion, which has been coined by these guys, clearly did not match the judgment of the Old Testament. Okay, I've mentioned the hadith, which is in Bukhari. It had 4 witnesses, male witnesses. Okay, and you need to see the eyeliner go in the eyeliner pot. So every time you hear judgment cushion, please remember me and my ginger beard and know that the Muslim dilemma is over.
Can I make a comment to that? Since all these questions are coming to him, I'd like to participate in that.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's interesting that he keeps mentioning the hadith about the judgment cushion. I mean, the way that he quoted the other hadith and misquoted it and misled us, I would expect, John, you got to quote the hadith that you're talking about verbatim and put it on the screen for us so we can all see, so make sure it says what it actually says that you're saying. But I have a narration from Bukhari that says something different than what he's saying. So I don't know how we're supposed to deal with this, but in Bukhari, talking about that, he doesn't mention anything about eyeliner or anything like that. This is 6819. It says, the prophet asked them, what is the legal punishment in your book, the Torah? They replied, our priests have been invaded. The punishment of blackening the faces of charcoal and Tabiyah. Abdullah bin Solomon said, O Allah's apostle, tell them to bring the Torah. The Torah was brought. And then one of the Jews put his hand over the divine verse of the Rajam, stoning to death, and started reading what prescribed and what followed it. On that, Ibn Salam said to the Jew, lift up your hand. Behold, the divine verse of the Rajam, stoning, was under his hand. So Allah's apostle ordered that the two be stoned to death, and so they were stoned. Nothing about eyelids or anything like that. So this is Sahih Bukhari 6819. We just read this verbatim. It just clearly has just simply the law of stoning there.
This one, we'll give you the last word really quick, John, just because the question was technically originally for you. I don't want to gang up on you, but it just have to be pithy.
What's that, sorry?
I can give you the last word on that last one, just because the original question was also directed at you, but I just have to have a pithy response.
You see, there's many hadiths with regards to this incident. You know, subhanAllah, one of them is the judgment cushion. One of them is the one I quoted, this one. So you have to look at all of the hadiths surrounding the incident. Yeah.
This one coming in from, do appreciate your question. ALC says, or AC says, Angel Gabriel, he worried it was a demon. So did a wife. St. Paul in the book you affirm, quote, Lucifer can appear as an angel of light, unquote. Result of revision, war, schism, grape and extra wives like Joseph Smith and the Muenstra rebellion. Do you agree, John?
I don't understand what that was. Sorry, we can't even begin to pick that. Avery can answer it if he wants.
Any thoughts, Avery?
I think he's saying that they thought that it was a demon that Muhammad had encountered in the cave, and even Paul says that Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. You guys believe that an angel encountered Muhammad when he thought he was demon possessed. So how do you reconcile that?
Now I understand. So if that is the case, then Wallach bin Nawfal also believed that Gabriel was a demon, and so the Gabriel, as I said, Wallach, who is Avery's evidence that he had the Bible in Medina, also had this understanding that Jesus received scripture through a demon.
You got it. This one from AC says, why did the Nestorians who helped the illiterate Muhammad copy the Gnostic crucifixion from the Apocryphon of Peter?
That to me?
I think so.
Yeah, they didn't.
You got it. This one from let's see. Rosanna D says, good job, Avery. You have a fan. And AC says, good job, Avery, as well. And also, folks, if it's like good job, John, or good job, Avery, we can do it. But otherwise, I don't want to read insults, though, toward the guests. So some of these I'm just skipping over. Lath says, according to the biography of Muhammad by Ibn Ishaq, page 104, the Injil is the Gospel of John.
Yeah, I already answered this. Ibn Ishaq is a 2nd century biographer who came around he wrote his biography about 140 years after Hijrah, which is about 130 years after Prophet Muhammad. And this is the first biography that we know, or the second, if you like, biography of Prophet Muhammad known. And the point with this is that biographies are not important to Muslims because we have the Quran and the authentic hadith. But Christians have an obsession with 2nd century biographers because obviously their scriptures of the New Testament are 2nd century biographies of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So the point is that Ibn Ishaq is not a source for us, okay? But what's interesting when we look at Ibn Ishaq, okay, he doesn't say the Injil is John. He says that the truth that he believes is in John, although I don't agree with him. He believes he may have got that from the Injil that was revealed to Jesus. Read the quote properly. Don't read Sam Shamoun's blog where he misquotes Ibn Ishaq.
This one from Bonds says, the Quran says the word of God, in parentheses, the Bible, cannot be changed. What people change is the meaning of the words. If this means the Bible is corrupted, then the same thing happened to the Quran. Do you agree?
Say that once more, sorry. Who said it?
Is
Is he saying
you
Ibn
bet.
Abbas?
What was the last question you had?
Just repeat the question. I missed the beginning.
They said the Quran says the word of God, parentheses, the Bible, cannot be changed. What people change is the meaning of the words. If this means the Bible is corrupted, then the same thing applies to the Quran.
The Quran doesn't say that the books, the Kitab Allah, cannot be changed. It doesn't say that. The whole concept of the Quran is it tells us that the Torah and Injil have changed, that they've been a result of tahrif and tabdil. They've been altered, corrupted, substituted, and even the Quran towards the end of times will be lifted from the earth. It doesn't say the Kitab Allah cannot be changed. It doesn't say that.
This one from the Uralic tribes, and the last one. They say the last and final prophets are found in Revelation 7:4 and Revelation 11:3. They will appear soon in Jerusalem in the last 7 years tribulation. The Mahdi is likely the Antichrist described in the Bible. Do you agree?
Is this me or Avery?
Either of you. In fact, both, since Avery hasn't gotten to speak for a lot. But I was
Repeat the question.
You bet. They said the last and final prophets are found in Revelation 7:4 and Revelation 11:3. They will appear soon in Jerusalem in the last 7 years, or the tribulation. The Mahdi is likely the Antichrist described in the Bible.
One thing I would say about this is, I mean, this is not confirmed that Christianity doesn't believe in prophets that came after. Is this revelation not confirming the end of prophethood? Which I was saying, but Avery seems to think that Catholicism believes in a continuous prophethood. And if they do, why don't they accept Islam? Why don't they accept Prophet Muhammad?
Can I touch on that? Because he misrepresented me a bit there. So I made it clear that there is no prophet coming that walks in the office of prophethood like Jesus, like an Elijah, like a Moses, but they have the gift of prophecy. What by the Holy Spirit fills them up, and they have the gift of prophecy or proclaiming the truth. And they won't be bringing any new revelation. They'll just be affirming the gospel. So there's no idea that a new prophet will come with a different revelation than the gospel, as if that wasn't a complete or the final revelation. We don't believe in that. We don't affirm that, but we do affirm that people come after that have the gift of prophecy that continue to expound on the gospel, not bring a new revelation.
You got it. We're going to jump into those closings. The first one coming from Avery. So these are 5-minute closings. Avery, thanks very much. The floor is all yours.
Yeah. So, man, thank you, James, for hosting the debate, man. Thank you, John, for participating. I definitely had a good time. You kept it respectful, kept it fun. I appreciate it. So just to close up, guys, what do we see here? We saw that I mentioned manuscript evidence of the gospel of the New Testament that we had during that time. I mentioned Torah evidence, Old Testament evidence that we have that exists before Muhammad's time, before the Quran. And the Quran over and over and over again affirms the scriptures that they have in their possessions. Baina yadehi, meaning that which is between their hands. The Quran is pretty clear on that. I mentioned evidence. I mentioned evidence of the Christians that Muhammad and his companions and his wives would have been familiar with since they went to Ethiopia. They visited the church in Ethiopia, talked about how beautiful the church is in Ethiopia. So they were familiar with and acquainted with the Oriental Orthodox Church that held to Trinitarian beliefs, that had the gospel of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the gospel of Jesus according to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We have the Garima manuscripts, which are the Ethiopian manuscripts that existed in 500 AD. That's before Muhammad's time, before the Quran, that had Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And so I'm given all of this evidence from the Quran, from the Hadith, from his scholarly sources, from his tafsir and I'm given historical evidence of manuscripts, while John just gave us maybes. Maybe it's this. It could have been this. Maybe it was that. We don't know. I don't know what this is. So he spent a chunk of his time telling us what he doesn't know about the Torah and the Injil, the gospel, what he doesn't know about the Christians that existed at the time or what they had, or the Jews, telling us what theories he's been working on and trying to sleep on, instead of actually giving us concrete proof and evidence of what he has to offer. There's no concrete evidence. He had no evidence. No, he literally said in our cross-examination, I asked him, do you have any evidence of this Injil or Torah or Psalms, any manuscript evidence? He said no. I asked him, do you know what the Injil was? He said no. I asked you, do you know what what Moses' understanding of the Torah was? He said no. So he's telling us he doesn't know what this stuff is. So how in the world is he going to come to this debate and tell us what it is not? You can't tell us what the Injil is if you can't tell me what it's not if you don't know what it is. So you've given me the debate already over there. We talked about, now this was a moment I want you guys to pay attention to, how Allah promises to make the believers of Jesus uppermost against the disbelievers, not just for a moment's time, but from that point till the day of judgment. And I mentioned how the top seers understood that they will be superior in spreading the message of Jesus and in battles against the disbelievers, because it says that they will be helpers in the cause of Allah, meaning they're helping Jesus spread the message. Allah says he helps them spread the message, helps them against the disbelievers, and they will be superior from then until the day of judgment. John says, well, the fulfillment of this is when the Muslims come. So for 600 years, Allah failed to keep his promise, and the disbelievers were successful in infiltrating Christianity and the message of Jesus, distorting it and losing it until Islam came about to fix the problem. So Allah did not keep his promise. He lied to the believers of Jesus and those who followed him, and he did not keep them uppermost, and the disbelievers were actually successful. So what does this mean? This means that either Allah lied, or Allah was incapable, he was too weak, or both. Allah is a liar and he's incapable of keeping his promises, and the disbelievers like Paul or the Catholic Church overcame Allah. That's what the Muslims will have us believe. Which is, I think that if I'm defending the Quran, I don't think you want the Quran to say that. So, guys, our Muslim friend has strengthened the Muslim dilemma even more than before it was today. How much time do I have, James?
You have 57 seconds.
57 seconds. Okay. So, in summary, he had no evidence for his Injil, Torah, Psalms, anything. He had no evidence of the Christians. He had no manuscript evidence. Nothing to match his narrative, nothing to respond with. He didn't respond at all to my mentioning of his companions being acquainted with the Ethiopians and the Coptic Church. And this shows that Allah is a liar or a weakling who's incapable of keeping his promises when he promises to make the believers of Jesus uppermost. And he's evil for holding us accountable to books that we actually don't have. Because it says that we have to judge according to the scriptures we have. Allah knows we don't have it. He knows it's distorted, but says that we'll be going to hell anyway if we don't follow it. Tough call.
You got it. Well, quick, get over to John for his 5-minute closing as well. I want to remind you folks, please don't spam the chat with copy and paste. Floor is all yours, John.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Avery has clearly shown his lack of ability to reconcile scripture. SubhanAllah, he's misunderstood. Half of his arguments are trying to prove that Islam's understanding of the Injil is wrong, according to the Christian understanding. He's forgot that the debate title is, does Islam affirm the Bible? He's trying to show that Islam's understanding of the Injil is not the same as Christianity. I'm accepting that. I agree with that. Avery, SubhanAllah, he's accepted an Old Testament, the Tanakh, which is from a community of Jews who killed prophets, who worshipped golden cows, who don't agree with you on scripture. They plonked their New Testament on top of the Old Testament for credibility and ran with it. Avery has provided no evidence from the Quran or the Hadith to prove that Islam affirms the Bible. In fact, the evidence that he presented was Waraq bin Nawfal, okay, who his Injil was an Injil. Okay, you can check his own hadith that he brought from Bukhari. It was in 3392. It was an actual singular Injil in Hebrew, and he used to translate it. Okay, and Waraq's understanding of Injil was something that was revealed from God, Allah, through Angel Gabriel to Jesus. This is an authentic hadith reported by Ibn Hajjah, and also in Bukhari it mentions his understanding of is that the Torah was revealed from Allah through Gabriel to Prophet Moses. This, as far as I know, is a heretical Christian belief according to today's Christians. What it could be now for, he mentioned the statement of Ibn Abbas. He tries to claim this is a part of Bukhari. It's not. It's in the title of Bukhari. And Bukhari is known to use weak hadith in the titles to show that he's aware of these hadith and to substantiate the point that he was making about the preserved tablet. Avery, he said he's going to reveal the number of the hadith tomorrow, so we will continue to question him about that. He also didn't. He brought the judgment cushion. The only thing he brought in this debate was a judgment cushion. And this isn't a pillow fight, Avery. You've totally misunderstood this. You came to a debate and wanted a pillow fight. And instead, you've just been refuted. The Muslim dilemma is over. Every time you hear about the judgment cushion, let's ask about the Torah that was on the judgment cushion and follow the hadith that tells us there was 4 witnesses, and you have to see the eyeliner go in the eyeliner pot. It's a description which you have to see in order to fulfill the judgment. This is clearly not the Torah of Avery. I also mentioned other examples, clear examples of the Torah that was mentioned in Medina, describing Muhammad clearly, describing that the Injil in Medina described that he'll have 70,000 followers who enter paradise. I brought the 10 Commandments, the ayah. Sorry, my batteries has gone in my camera. Give me 1 second. The 10 ayah, which is the 10 Commandments. Sorry, just 1 minute.
Got the timer paused. No problem.
Can you just cut the timer just for 1 second? Sorry. Let's just reset the ISO. Sorry about this. It's been back in the room. Can you see me? Okay. Yes. I also presented the 10 Commandments, the ayah. The Jews asked for the 10 ayah, which the 9 ayah. They were trying to hide the one about the Sabbath, and the Prophet ﷺ confirmed these laws. Whether he wants to admit these are the 10 Commandments or not, he has to show where is the commandment not to do magic and not to do riba and not to accuse the women. None of these rulings are in his understanding of Torah. This clearly shows an alternative Torah and Injil around at the time of Prophet Muhammad. He brought Salman al-Farsi. He's trying to show who the Muslims interacted with. Salman al-Farsi was a true follower of Jesus, and he was given signs about a prophet to come in Medina. None of this is found in Avery's Injil, clearly showing that the Christians and the Jews had an alternative scripture. And again, this fits fully in line with the historical narrative of there being many alternative sects, many alternative scriptures, and even the Hadith quotes many. As I said, another plug for my book. It's coming out soon, Jesus in the Injil, chapter 6, 65 authentic hadith proving that the Torah and Injil in Medina, there was an alternative Torah and Injil in Medina. Avery has to prove the Torah, that the Bible, his Bible, was in Medina. Just before we finish, I want to bring it back to the Quran, where we bring it back to the Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. And Allah tells us in the Quran that Abraham was not Jewish or Christian. He predates Judaism, he predates Christianity. And all of us, whether we're Jewish, we're Muslim, we're Christian, we all accept Prophet Abraham as one of the mighty prophets, the founder of monotheism, the true monotheism. I'm asking everyone, what was the religion of Abraham? He was not Jewish, he was not Christian. He worshipped one God. He worshipped the Creator. And this is the Islamic concept. We worship the same Creator, the same God as Prophet Abraham. And I'm asking anyone who is listening, whether you're Muslim, Christian, Jewish, if you're sincere about religion, put your head on the floor the way the prophets did. Abraham, Jesus, Moses, all of them. Put your head on the floor when you're alone and ask the Creator to guide you. Because God, if you sincerely ask Him, He will guide you. Are you cutting me off?
Thank you for that closing as well. With that, I want to say, folks, thanks so much for tuning in today. It has been a tremendous debate. We really do appreciate our guests. We hope you feel welcome, whether you be Christian, Muslim, atheist, you name it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, you can find our guests linked below. So if you'd like to hear more from them, I have linked both